Okay, so for this video, this is just a continuation of the discussion about limit of a function. Okay, and in this video, we will be discussing the third method on how to determine the limit of a function. Okay, we will be using the limit laws. Okay po. So the following limit laws are, okay, so suppose that c is a constant and the limit of f of x as x approaches a and the limit of g of x as x approaches a exist, then we have the first law, the limit of a constant as x approaches a is equal to the constant. Okay? Second limit is the limit of x as x approaches a is equal to a. Okay, so this is our identity function. Next is the limit of c times f of x as x approaches a is equal to c times the limit of f of x as x approaches a. Or, pwede din naman natin sabihin that the limit of a constant times a function is the constant times the limit of the function. Okay? Or ang idea, nilalabas lang natin yung constant. Okay po, doon sa isosolve na limit. So later we'll be having examples of this. Okay? Now for the next limit law, we have the limit of the sum of two functions. So in case na meron tayong two terms in a given function, so we can actually get the limit of these terms separately. Okay? Then i-add na lang later on. Next is the limit of a difference is the limit of or is the difference of the limits. Okay? Halos parehas lang naman siya doon sa number 4 na limit. Okay? So this is the difference of two or limit of the difference of two functions. Then we also have the limit of the product of two functions. So we have the limit of f of x times g of x as x approaches a is equal to the limit of f of x as x approaches a times the limit of g of x as x approaches a. Okay? Next limit is the limit of um, the quotient of two functions. So take note that the limit of g of x as x approaches a or yung nasa, kung ano man yung nasa denominator, must not be equal to 0. Kasi kapag naging 0 yan, um, the limit of the function will be undefined. Okay? Next is the limit of the nth power of a function. So we have the limit of x raised to n as x approaches a is equal to a raised to n such that or provided that n is an element of positive integers. Okay? Then we have the limit of f of x raised to n as x approaches a is equal to the limit of f of x as x approaches a raised to n with the given condition that n is a positive integer. Okay? Next will be the limit of the nth root of the function. Okay? So, pwede nating ilagay sa loob ng radical symbol yung limit of the function or in number 10, simply substitute, okay, the value of a where x is approaching 2. Okay? But take note that the value inside the radical symbol must not be negative or it should be greater than 0. Okay? Sige. So for us to clearly understand these things, let's have some examples. Okay? So for number 1, the limit of x squared minus 3x plus 1 as x approaches 0. Actually, pwede tayong mag-apply dito ng more than 2. Okay? Limit laws. So ano yung ibig sabihin mo, ma'am? Sige, let's evaluate this one. Ang gagawin natin is to separate these terms first. Okay? So, yung x squared, pwede natin siyang isulat as the limit of x squared as x approaches 0 minus, i-apply ko na dito yung third limit wherein yung limit of the constant or constant times the limit, mali. The limit of the constant times the function as x approaches a is equal to the constant times the limit of the function. So, pwede ko siyang isulat as 3 times the limit of x as x approaches 0 plus the limit of 1 as x approaches 0. Okay? Diba ginamitan natin ng mga limit laws? Now, in this case, this one, yung limit of the nth power of a function. So, pwede natin siyang i-substitute na natin yung ina-approach ng x. So, in this case, we'll just substitute 0 to the given function, so x squared, minus 3. So, same, identity function, so 0, plus the limit of 1 as x approaches 0, or the limit of the constant is the constant itself. So, this is equal to 1. Okay? Evaluating the equation, we have 0 squared is 0. Negative 3 times 0 is 0. Okay? So, 0 minus 0 is 0 plus 1 will give us the answer of 1. So, therefore, the limit of the function x squared minus 3x plus 1 as x approaches 0 is equal to. Okay? Some of the students, actually, pwede tayong gumawa ng shortcut. Pero if you are asked to show your complete solution, so you have to do this solution. Ano po? Pero kung medyo nagmamadali tayo or an activity requires you to answer the problems fast, pwede nyo naman siyang i-direkta ng i-substitute. Okay po. Lalo kapag exam. Ano? So, hindi mo naman na kailangang ipakita dyan yung complete solution mo. So, you may proceed already with the shortcut. So, ano yung shortcut? Pwede mo nang i-substitute. So, as x approaches 0, pwede mo na siyang i-substitute na ang mangyayari. So, 0 squared minus 3 times 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. Kasi pareho lang naman yung makukuha ninyo. Okay? Pero, it's a case-to-case basis. Kasi may mga functions na you have to simplify it first before you proceed determining the limit of the given function. Okay? I actually have an example of that in this lesson. Okay? Sige, let's proceed with number 2. We have the limit of the quantity 3 minus 1 half x cube as x approaches negative 4. Okay? Pwede natin ditong i-apply yung the limit of the nth power of a function. So, pwede nating ipasok, okay, yung lahat ng limit sa isang parenthesis. Anong ibig sabihin? We can have the limit of 3 minus 1 half x as x approaches negative 4 raised to 3. Okay? Sige, let's evaluate. We have the limit of 3 as x approaches negative 4 minus 1 half limit of x as x approaches negative 4. Okay? Lagyan natin siya sa bracket or sa brace, raised to 3. Okay? So, limit of 3 or limit of the constant 3 as x approaches negative 4 is equal to 3 minus negative 1 half negative 1 half minus 1 half limit of x as x approaches negative 4 is simply negative 4 raised to 3. So, eto, 1 half or negative 1 half times negative 4 will give us positive 2, di ba? So, positive 2. So, 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 cube will give us 125. So, the limit of the um, quantity 3 minus 1 half x raised to 3 as x approaches negative 4 is equal to 125. Okay? Sige, let's proceed with number 3. We have the limit of x cubed plus 2x plus 3 all over x squared as x approaches 1. Okay? So in this case, pwede natin i-apply ng sabay-sabay yung mga limit laws. Ano po? Okay. Let us expand this first. So we have the limit, ay, wait lang. Medyo napalaki yung sulat. So we have the limit of x cubed as x approaches 1 plus 2, limit of x as x approaches 1 plus the limit of 3 as x approaches 1 and the limit of x squared as x approaches 1. Okay? So, na-expand na natin, we can now substitute 1 to each of the limits of the given function. So, we have 1 cube plus 2 times 1 plus 3, then 1 squared. So, we have 1 cube is 1, di ba? Plus 2 times 1 is 2. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Plus 3 is equal to 6. This 1 is 1. Therefore, the limit of the function x cubed plus 2x plus 3 all over x squared as x approaches 1 is equal to 6. Okay? Let's now have this one. Okay? So the limit of x squared minus 4 all over x plus 2 as x approaches negative 2. Okay? So kung ide-direkta natin to, the answer here will be undefined. Kasi di ba, negative 2, yung nasa denominator na lang yung tingnan natin. So negative 2 plus 2 is equal to 0. Okay? So ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na bago kayo mag-solve ng limit of the function, you have to simplify first the given function. Anong ibig sabihin? We have, di ba yung x squared minus 4 can be expressed as x plus 2, x minus 2, all over x plus 2. So may common na factor sa numerator at denominator. So ibig sabihin, pwede natin siyang i-cancel. Ang matitira ay x minus 2. Since we have simplified the given function, now we can proceed with determining the limit of this example or this function. Okay? So, pwede na nating isulat yung limit of x minus 2 as x approaches negative 2. And to simplify, we have the limit of x as x approaches negative 2 minus the limit of nilagyan ko ng parenthesis. Okay? So, the limit of 2 as x approaches negative 2. So, solving the limits, we have negative 2 minus, limit of the constant is 2. So, therefore, the limit of x squared minus 4 all over x plus 2 as x approaches negative 2 is equal to negative 4. Okay? I hope this is clear. Ano po? Sige, sunod tayong example. Evaluating the limit of the function given the limit, the quantity 2 plus x squared minus 4 all over x as x approaches 0. Itong example na to, ang gagawin nyo muna ay i-expand yung nasa loob ng parenthesis. Sige, expand muna natin. We have 2 plus x squared will actually give us, ayusin ko na x squared plus 4x plus 4. So, pwede natin itong isulat as the limit of x squared plus 4x plus 4 minus 4, lagay natin sa parentheses para hindi malito, plus 4 all over x. Di ba ito plus 4 minus 4, di ba makakancel yan? Ang matitira ay yung limit ng x squared plus 4x over x as x approaches 0. Now, merong common sa numerator at denominator, which is the variable x. So, pwede natin siyang ulit i-cancel. Pero bago siya i-cancel, i-extract muna natin yung common. So, we have the limit of x times x plus 4 all over x as x approaches 0. So, pwede na natin i-cancel yung x sa numerator at denominator. Ang matitira ay limit of x plus 4 as x approaches 0. So, to simplify, we have the limit of x as x approaches 0 plus the limit of 4 as x approaches 0. Okay? So, ito magiging 0. So, 0 plus 4 will actually give us the value of 4. So, it follows the limit of the function quantity 2 plus x squared minus 4 all over x as x approaches 0 is equal to. Okay? So, yan po yung limit laws where we have applied them in the polynomial functions or rational functions. Okay? Sige, there are actually other limit theorems. So first, for any polynomial p of x and any real number a, limit of p of x as x approaches a is equal to p of a. Or simply, substitute the value of a to all the variables in each term in the given polynomial function. Okay? Second, for any real number a, the limit of sine x as x approaches a is equal to sine a. Second, or b, the limit of cosine x as x approaches a is equal to cosine a. Then the limit of e raised to x as x approaches a is equal to e raised to a. Then the limit of ln of x as x approaches a is equal to ln of a for a greater than 0. So, dapat greater than 0 yung value. Okay? Kasi kung less than 0 yan, you cannot substitute kasi magma-math error po yan. Okay? Sige, let's have some examples. We have the limit of x times cotangent x as x approaches 0. In this example po, we will be using here the L'Hopital's or the L'Hopital. Okay? Anong ibig sabihin? So, the first thing that we have to do here, okay, i-introduce ko lang to but we will be going back to this example once we discuss the derivatives. Okay, kasi gagamitan ito ng derivative. Ano po? So, we will be solving this as the limit of, kukunin natin yung inverse ng cotangent. Ilalagay natin siya sa denominator. Okay? So, this will be, ang mangyayari sa kanya, hindi ko muna kayo i-require na intindihin to ng deep, or ng malalim. Kasi nga, sabi ko sa inyo, gagamitan siya ng derivative. Okay? So, we have 1 over cotangent x as x approaches 0. So, applying the L'Hopitals, ang L'Hopitals po, kinukuha yung derivative of both numerator and denominator. So, in this case, kukunin natin yung derivative ni x at derivative ni 1 over cotangent x. Sa mga derivatives kasi, we will be providing you with formulas para mas madali din sa ating mag-identify kung ano yung derivative ng isang trigonometric function. Yung derivative ng x nasa numerator is, nakalagay pa din yung limit, ano po, yung derivative ng x is 1. The derivative of 1 over cotangent x is secant squared x as x approaches 0. So, simplified na siya. You can now proceed in determining the limit of the function. So, ang sagot dito, using the quotient or limit of the quotient, so we have the limit of 1 as x approaches 0 all over limit of secant squared x as x approaches 0. So we have, di ba limit of constant is the constant. Then, the limit of, isa-substitute lang natin. So this will be secant 0 squared. Pwede natin ilabas yung squared, ano po? Kasi wala naman, or hindi natin kapag in-input natin yung secant squared 0 sa calculator, hindi siya pwede. Okay? So, ang gagawin natin, ilalabas natin yung exponent. Okay? So, secant 0, to saan ba? Kapag sige, i-drawing natin yung Cartesian plane. Di ba yung secant 0 is the reciprocal identity of cosine. So, in this case, dito 1, dito 0. Kapag secant 0, sige, let us use the calculator. Kasi nalilito ako. Okay. So, the value of secant 0 squared is equal to 1. Kahit i-check nyo sa calculator. Okay? So, this will be, or the limit of the function x times cotangent x as x approaches 0 is equal to 1. Okay? So, again, sabi ko nga, hindi ko muna kayo i-require na intindihin to ng lubos. Ano po? Kasi babalikan din naman natin to once we discuss derivative of a function. Okay? Sige, let's proceed with the next example. We have, so the limit of 1/3 x as x approaches 0 minus the limit of 5 as x approaches 0. So, substitute nyo lang. So, 1/3 raised to 0 minus 5. Any number raised to 0 is equal to 1 minus 5 will give us -4. Okay? So, I hope nakakasabay. Ano po? Sige, let's have number 10. Sa number 10, we have the limit of x as x approaches 0 minus the limit of e raised to x plus 1 as x approaches 0. So, substitute nyo lang. So, 0 minus e raised to 0 plus 1. So, ito 0. Ito 0 plus 1 is just 1. Eh, di ba kapag ang exponent ng isang number ay 1, hindi naman na natin siya nilalagay as the exponent. Understood na kapag wala tayong nakalagay dyan, 1 yung exponent niya. So, we can simply write negative e. So, the limit of x minus e raised to x plus 1 as x approaches 0 is equal to negative e. Okay? So, yeah. Next is sa logarithm. The limit of log of x as x approaches negative as x approaches 2. Okay? Actually, wala tayong way to represent this limit. Okay? Kasi, basehan natin yung graph niya. Okay po, ito yung graph. The graph of the function from yung limit ng function as x approaches 2 from the left at yung limit ng function as x approaches 2 from the right is what? From the left, di ba wala naman kayo nakikitang graph dyan? So, ibig sabihin, the function or the limit of the function from the left of 2 does not exist. Okay? Then the limit of the function, yung log of x, as x approaches 2 from the right, di ba decreasing yung trend? Decreasing siya, so ibig sabihin, the limit of this function is negative infinity. Now, take note, sabi natin, the condition for the limit of the function to exist is that the limit from the left must be equal to the limit from the right. And in this case, di obvious naman, hindi sila equal. So therefore, the limit of the function log of x as x approaches 2, okay, does not exist. Okay? So yan po yung sagot dyan. Now, let's have this one. We have the limit of x minus ln of x plus 1 as x approaches 2. Okay, so same lang, gamitan natin siya ng limit of the function. So limit of x as x approaches 2 minus the limit of ln x as x approaches 2 plus the limit of 1 as x approaches 2. Okay, so substituting the value of x, we have 2 minus ln of 2 plus 1. Okay? So since these are both constant, so pwede natin siyang i-combine. This will be negative ln of 2 plus 3. Okay? Or pwede nyo isulat as, kasi commutative naman under addition yung mga equations natin. So pwedeng, instead of writing this one, pwede namang 3 minus ln of 2. Wala din naman yung problema. It's just the same. Okay? Sige, let's have number 12. Sa 12, we have the limit of sine x as x approaches pi over 2. So we'll simply substitute. Ano po? So sine pi over 2. Ano yung value ng sine pi over 2? O take note. Partition tayo. Dito, di ba, andito ito yung pi over 2. At yung coordinates netong point na to, if we are dealing with the unit circle, di ba, this is 0, 1. And sabi natin, nung sa pre-calculus, etong x-coordinate is associated with cosine x, while the y-coordinate is associated with sine x. So in this case, ang x natin dito is pi over 2. So this is sine pi over 2. Ano ngayon yung value ng y-coordinate dito sa ordered pair na ito? Di ba 1? So it follows, sine pi over 2 is equal to 1. Siya yung sagot sa limit of sine x as x approaches pi over. Okay? Sige, let's have number 14. So we have the limit of x minus cosine x as x approaches pi. Okay? So we have the limit of x as x approaches pi minus the limit of cosine x as x approaches pi. Yes, substitute natin. So this is pi minus cosine pi. O, ito na lang yung hahanapin natin. O, balik tayo sa Cartesian plane. Di ba yung pi andito? This is pi. And if we will be considering the unit circle, the coordinates of this point is -1, 0. Okay? Oh, again, cosine pi cosine pi is equal to -1, di ba? Based on the coordinates of the unit circle. So substituting -1 dito sa cosine pi will give us pi minus -1 is equal to pi plus 1. So this will be the limit of the function x minus cosine x as x approaches pi. Okay? Okay, so I hope everything is clear ano po, with the examples presented. Okay? So I hope you learned something about the limit laws. Ano po. So that's all for um, this lecture video. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask your teachers, or you may also comment on the comment section of this video. Ano po. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.